Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah nabiyina wa habibina wa imamina. In continuing from where we left off in Bab al-Wudu, the last lesson we spoke about the hadith that mentions the fadl of al-siwak, using the miswak. And also it was evident of the compassion of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam for this ummah. His compassion for this ummah. He says, لولا أن أشق على أمتي لأمرتهم بالسواك مع كل وضوء. هو الشاهد في هذا الباب. في رواية أخرى لكل صلاة مع كل صلاة. Another narration mentions مع كل صلاة. And this narration mentions مع كل wudu. That shows the virtue of using the miswak. That the person would have done it, you should do it at every wudu, and he would have encouraged it to be done, commanded, but he feared that this would be a hardship upon the ummah. So it also shows أنه ميسر التشريع الشارع, يعني Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يسر الشريعة وكذلك جعل أحكام الشريعة يسيرة. Allah made it easy. I made all of the rulings of Islam easy. What makes Islam difficult for a person is عدم العلم أو قلة العلم, lack of knowledge. A person who has little knowledge, this is when they will see Islam to be something that is difficult. Allah mentions, والله Allah يريد بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر. Allah wants ease for you, He doesn't want difficulty for you. Allah has said this. So Allah would not put you in a place of hardship. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah will not burden a person beyond their scope, that which they can bear. So this is all evidence of يسر هذه الشريعة, the ease of this sharia. What is difficult? Not the sharia itself. The difficulty is مجاهدة النفس, fighting one's desires. ولهذا الشيخ الإسلام ابن تيمية رحمه الله بين أن النفوس ثلاثة وقد ذكرناها. The types of the souls are three. النفس المطمئنة, the reassured soul, and that is the one that is النفس التي تستبق الخيرات, that is always hastening towards goodness. Now, وهذه النفس تنادى يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية. هذا النداء للنفس المطمئنة. That nida, that calling is to the reassured soul, the one that is always upon goodness. أما النفس الثاني فهي النفس اللوامة, النفس التي تلوم نفسه بارتكاب الذنوب والمعاصي ويتوب إلى الله. The soul that is between tawbah wal ma'asiyah, yani it falls into sins, it takes itself to account, reprimands itself, and seeks forgiveness. والثالث النفس الأمارة بالسوء, the soul that is always commanding towards evil. وهذه النفس التي غلبت عليها معصية. This is the soul that has been overcome by sin. The sin that is always indulged in has made it hard to be inclined towards goodness. It's always calling towards and inclined towards evil. فنسأل الله يجعلنا من النفوس المطمئنة. آمين. The hadith that we have now, بيان صفة الوضوء, كيفية الوضوء, it clarifies how one is to perform الوضوء. وهناك في الحقيقة في هذا الباب 4 أحاديث, 4 أحاديث في هذا الموضوع. أول حديث حمران, عن حمران أن عثمان دعا بوضوء فغسل كفيه 3 مرات ثم تمضمض واستنشق واستنثر ثم غسل وجهه 3 مرات ثم غسل يده اليمنى إلى المرفق 3 مرات ثم اليسرى مثل ذلك ثم مسح برأسه ثم غسل رجله اليمنى إلى الكعبين 3 مرات ثم اليسرى مثل ذلك ثم قال رأيت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم توضأ نحو وضوئي هذا متفق عليه. In both Bukhari and Muslim, it mentions that Humran narrated that Uthman, as Uthman ibn Affan, mentioned that he called da'a, he asked for wadu'in bil fatha al waw al maftuha بمعنى الماء المستعمل للوضوء يعني الماء للوضوء الوضوء بمعنى الماء الذي سيستعمله للوضوء is the water that is going to be used for wudu. So الوضوء هو فعل التوضؤ هو اسم مصدر. It's a noun of it's a name of a verbal noun in the Arabic language because the verb is توضأ and the masdar is tawaddu'un, but al-wudu ismu masdarin. But wadu بالفتحة واو المفتوحة هذا الماء that is going to be used for wudu.
وضوء فعل.
الوضوء اسم للمصدر. نعم. بالتحقيق يعني. نعم. بس أدقق عليك. نعم. فهذا يكون يعني في ألفاظ إذا كان في وضوء كمثل for example مثلا طهور وطهور.
نعم.
نفس الشيء.
صح.
نعم. إذا كان مفتوحا فاختلف المعنى من إذا كان مدموما. This is more like detailed Arabic stuff. It's a type of word. You have the masdar is the verb or noun of the verb. It has to be from the same pattern. There's a certain masdar pattern. But you also have a word, a noun that's not from the pattern that's called ismu masdar. It's the noun of the masdar. It has the same meaning. And that is what is intended by wudu. Because the verb is tawadda'a. And that's form 5, tafa'ala. So the masdar is tafa'ulun. So it should be tawaddu'un. But al-wudu ismu masdar. Al-wudu has the same meaning. So it's called ismu masdar. That is with dhamma, wudu. But as for wadu bil fatha, then that is al-ma. It mentions that he washed his hands 3 times and then rinsed his mouth and his nose 3 times and blew out of his nose. ثم غسل وجهه 3 مرات, and then he washed his face 3 times. ثم غسل يده اليمنى إلى المرفق 3 مرات, and he washed his right hand up into and including his elbow. When we say washing the right hand, it has to be from the top of your fingertips to your elbow, not from your wrist. When you wash your hand in the beginning 3 times, this is sunnah. As for washing your hand to your elbow, then this is wajib. And the sunnah can never take the place of a wajib. Because it's a condition that you have to do it in order. So you have to wash from your fingertips up until your elbow. Right hand 3 times, left hand the same 3 times. Then he wiped his head. Wiping of the head is not washing. So you wipe from where your hair starts to the back of your hairline, back to the front, then index finger in the ear, thumb behind.
أستاذ استقطعك نقطة.
نعم.
المسح اللي أنا عارفه هو عمل كذا وعمل كذا وكذا.
لا.
وعمل كذا وكذا وكذا.
بس واحد خلاص.
أوكي. وللنساء اللي أنا عارفه يجزئ للمرأة أن تفعل هكذا وخلاص للمرأة.
ليش؟ الدليل. لازم الدليل.
احنا درسنا في الدعوة والإرشاد يعني في قطر مش أي كلام. قال لك المرأة
ولكن
حتى
حتى ولو أي مكان درست نحتاج دليل،
إذا المرأة في
لأن ما على الرجال على النساء. There's no difference between men and women in wudu. Obviously there's the rukhsa of the hijab, wiping over the hijab.
كنا نعمل بس كذي.
لا أبدا، يكون مسح على الحجاب.
على الحجاب ولا على الشعر؟
على الحجاب. إذا
المرأة تمسح على الحجاب؟
نعم يجوز.
شوف هاي فتوى أخرى.
سيأتي إن شاء الله، ليس بجديد.
جديد علي.
نعم. But so in terms of the wudu, it's the same though. The wudu is the same. نعم. المسح is from مقدم الرأس إلى آخره وترجع, and then you come back. You see. So even a woman, she has hair, she does the same thing. She doesn't go inside and wash. لا, it's not ghusl. It's never washing, it's مسح. It's only wiping. So that's why you have to understand the difference between the ghusl wal masah. Masah is just a thing, wiping over. For example, now I can't make wudu on my hand, so I do masah on this part, but I have to wash everything else. But you only do masah on the part that you're not allowed, that you can't wash, for example.
ما في اختلافات أبدا على هاي وهاي؟
لا أدري، لكن بالدليل لا. لازم يكون فيه دليل. But even I've seen men do stuff like this. Just touch their fingers with wood and do this. What is that? Again, it needs evidence. You don't just do this. You see? So I mentioned, and then the right foot up into the ankles 3 times, washing, and the left foot the same. And then he mentioned, this is how I saw the Prophet Muhammad perform wudu. No. So he's saying exactly like this, I learnt the wudu of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. It's narrated by both Bukhari and Muslim. As for what is wajib, it's wajib only to do the washing once. So wash your hands once, rinse your mouth and your nose once, face once, arm once. As for 3 times, up until 3 times, this is sunnah. To do more than 3 times is bid'ah. 1 time washing, wajib. Up until 3 times, sunnah. More than that, bid'ah.
Sorry, did you say that wiping backwards and forwards, there's no dalil or there is?
No, that's what you're supposed to do.
That's what you're supposed to do.
The one we're talking about is just doing like this, for example.
Oh, okay.
Or half of the head. No.
بس مو الشعر كله.
From what is mentioned, that you do once to the back and come back.
إيه بس كده من هنا مو شرط هاي خلاص يعني.
لا من مقدم الرأس
إيه مقدم
إلى الخلف وارجع. الحديث سيأتي.
إن شاء الله.
The evidence is coming.
إن شاء الله.
But it has to be built upon what? Evidence.
إن شاء الله.
So it mentions وعن علي رضى عن في صفة وضوء النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال مسح برأسه واحدة. This is evidence again that you only do it once. So to do it more than once is what? Bid'ah. You don't do it. No one says, but I want to, get more reward. La, there's no more reward in bid'ah. There's sin now. Man, فمن عمل الحديث يعني نعم من عمل عملا ليس له أمرنا فهو رد. It's rejected, it's not accepted. No.
What about the ears?
The ears.
There's a khilaf in between the hadith of the washing of the ears after the.
So when you wipe your head,
Yeah.
you don't get new water. The same water you do your ears.
The ears.
Yeah. So index finger inside and thumb behind. Inshallah. Inshallah it will come.
And also, sorry. So
No,
with
it's-
regards to wiping the water, so let's say if we were outside, and then there's no specific place to do wudu, what?
Wipe over your hijab.
Can we do that every time we wash?
When you're outside, yeah.
No, but every time we need to pray, can we do that every time we need to pray?
If you have wudu, you don't need to. If you've broke your wudu, yeah.
However many times, instead of just doing it, because I heard an explanation once of hadith saying that you can only do that once a day, like wiping it over the hijab instead of doing it every single time you.
If you're in the same situation, the same rule applies.
Like,
You see, because what are you going to do then? You can't take your hijab off in the public.
yeah.
You see, so you have to. A person to say is condition once, it has to bring evidence, because it shares the same ruling as the sock.
Okay.
You see, the sock you can wipe over any time as long as it's within the time period. You see,
Ustad,
Is that even if you're inside your house? You can still.
no, inside your house. Oh yeah, you wipe over sock in your house. Yeah,
Ustad,
But it's out of necessity wiping over the hijab. It's only if you
yeah,
need
for
to.
necessity. If you can't, no.
بس لازم ما يكون حجاب لما اجي اغسل وجهي لازم هذا يكون الماء يوصل لي.
Yeah, لازم you
يعني
يغسل الوجه.
الحجاب.
Just for your face, to wash your face. You have to make sure you're able to wash your face.
Not just this we do here, no.
Yeah.
Still this part from our face.
Okay, so it mentions in another hadith, وعن عبد الله بن زيد بن عاصم رضي عنهما في صفة الوضوء قال: ومسح رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم برأسه فأقبل بيديه وأدبر. نعم متفق عليه. It mentioned he wiped his head, going back and forward. But in the next hadith it mentioned وفي لفظ لهما بدأ بمقدم رأسه حتى ذهب بهما إلى قفاه ثم ردهما إلى مكان الذي بدأ منه. So that gives you the tafsir. It tells you, another narration mentions he started with the beginning of his hairline, and then he went to the back of his hairline, and then he returned his hand back to where he started from. So it shows when you wipe your head, you go front and back. That is the way the Prophet ﷺ did it. Not this, what people do. I see people do it and just do this. No.
Like this, like me, if I am outside. Like this.
Wipe what is considered to be the head. Whatever is considered to be the head, wipe that, and that's it. So even if you're wiping over your hijab, do the same. Wipe over it, khalas. Inshallah. Remember, it's not washing, so you're not going to be wet. You're not going to be wet. It's just you damp your hand and you wipe.
بس يخرب شعر النسوان
نعم.
خشن.
I just have a question. With the wiping over, if you're outside wiping over the hijab, do you still have to put your hands under and do the ears, or is the ears included?
The ears is included. It's mess over the hijab. The ears is included.
Ooh.
You don't have
You
to.
don't have to do
no.
that over the phone.
What's the dalil that the washing of the hands is only sunnah and wajib?
Because it's not part of the fard of salah, the fard of wudu. Naam, because when it says in the ayah,
يا أيها الذين اغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم.
نعم إلى المرافق. نعم إذا قمتم الصلاة فاغسلوا بوجوهكم وأيديكم إلى المرافق وامسحوا برؤوسكم وأرجلكم إلى الكعبين. Even that ayah is important to understand the order, because it says وامسحوا برؤوسكم وأرجلكم. أرجلكم is fath, I mean it follows the rules of what came before. وامسحوا برؤوسكم.
نعم.
No. So that shows that it's not from the fardiyah of wudu. No.
So if please explain for us again. I know بس يعني if I am in rush I don't want to do a sunnah wudu quickly.
Just do one time each action.
إيه بس face لا مضمضة خشم face.
Once.
إيه.
Yeah,
يعني
everything once.
إيه. تبتدين بالوجه. You start in your mouth.
Yes.
If it's in rush, no water. Ask teacher.
Yeah.
Let's say you're in a position where you're trying to wipe over your hijab because you're in public. Does that not then mean you can't do your whole arm?
You can, in the way that is you can conceal it. You're able to conceal that more than obviously your hair. So I'm saying the hair is more of an issue. You see. So yeah.
أستاذ قول لهم عشان ما يصير في ذمتي أخاف تفهم الحديث غلط. قول لها إذا غسلت وجه تمضمضت وغسلت خشمها وجهها ما تاخذ أجر السنة.
هذا معروف.
إيه بس عشان
نعم.
ما يصير في ذمتي تفهمني غلط يوم القيامة إذا أنا معلمتها غلط. هسه ياسمينة if you didn't follow the sunnah you just follow the Quran your mouth and face and this you not take thawab of sunnah reward of following sunnah just you do the wajib. But if you follow what the Prophet ﷺ, peace be upon him, so he did, you follow him, they will follow the sunnah, you take the word. I learned from my teacher, huh? I'm helping assistant.
What's it called when they're sniffing the water in the nose? The Arabic word for it.
Istinshaq.
Well, sorry, sorry.
Remember, please, it's live, yeah, don't
Sorry.
too much. The issue of the time passing, I need to look into this more because there's difference of opinion, inshallah, regarding making tayammum if you feel that the time is going to pass. Of the things that is mentioned though, someone asked Sheikh bin Baz rahimahullah, if a person wakes up and in a state of janaba, okay, and they have to make ghusl, but if they make ghusl, the time of Fajr will leave. Do they make tayammum and pray, knowing that they'll catch the time? He mentioned yalzimul ghusl. He is binding that he makes ghusl. وَلَوْ خَرَجَ الْوَقْتِ, even if the time comes out. Because the Prophet mentioned من نام عن الصلاة أو نسيها فليصليها إذا ذكرها ولا كفار لها إلا ذلك. I mentioned whoever sleeps over the salah or forgets it, and let them pray as soon as they remember it, and there's no expiation upon them, okay, except for that. So he mentioned فوقته وقت الاستيقاظ فإذا استيقظ من نومه وتذكر من نسيانه يبادر فيغتسل ويصلي ولا حرج عليه لأنه معذور. So if a person was slept and they wake up or they forgot, then they hasten to perform ghusl now to make sure that they're able to perform the salah, and there's nothing upon them because they are excused. They are excused. So a person has to make wudu or perform ghusl now. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam.
This is our book, Usul al-Fiqh, Ustad? No, Bulugh al-Maram.
This is Bulugh al-Maram. Now, the next hadith that mentions related to the wiping over the head, it mentions عن عبد الله بن عمر رضي الله عنهما في صفة الوضوء قال ثم مسح برأسه وأدخل إصبعيه السباحتين في أذنيه ومسح بإبهاميه ظاهر أذنيه أخرجه أبو داود والنسائي وصححه بن خزيمة. So here it mentions that, and then in the description of the wudu, the person would wipe his head, and then he would enter his sabbahatain. This is sabbaha. It's the finger of tasbih. Naam. Sabbahatain fi udunay, inside his ears, and masaha bi ibhamayhi, with his two thumbs he wiped his the open part of the back part of the ear. So that is clearly telling us the sifa, the description of the wudu of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And also it mentions this is to be done whilst wiping the head, because in another hadith is mentioned al-udhunani min al-rats, the two ears are from the head. So they take the ruling of the head. So it's the same water. You don't get new water. The Prophet didn't get new water to do his ears. Let me just look into something quickly. So when it comes to wiping over the hijab, then what is mentioned, this is, you have to make sure that she wears the hijab on tahara. So before you put it on, you was in a state of tahara. Just the same as the ruling of the sock. So you wipe over the sock after wearing it upon tahara. And it mentions that this is based upon it being difficult to remove the hijab. And you can do this for 1 day and 1 night. So that's the same ruling as the sock. So 1 day and 1 night if you're a resident. So that's what is mentioned for the woman to wipe over her khimar. It can be done for 1 day and 1 night.
What does it mean when you say 1 day and 1 night? So then the
24 hours.
Yeah, but when you do it one time, that's...
No, within 24 hours. After 24 hours, you have to remove it and make wudu again, wiping over your actual head. So basically, that starts from the time you wipe over it, though.
The 24 hours.
Yeah, the 24 hours starts from the time you actually wipe. So let's say, for example, I put on my socks now, after Fajr today. But I didn't need to make wudu until Maghrib time. And I wiped over my socks at that time. The 24 hours starts from then.
From Maghrib time.
From Maghrib time. You see? That's how it works.
قول لي بس إذا فسختي أستاذ يمكن قول لي إذا فسختي السوكس ورجعتي يفسخ العقد. أخذت تنسى.
Yeah, that's the rule. أحكام of مسح على الجورب سيأتي بالتفصيل إن شاء الله.
Yeah, بس
هذا بس لضرب المثال وسيأتي وقته إن شاء
انا
الله.
لا والله حبا
نعم.
اخاف ذكر فانك لا تنفع المؤمنين، اخاف احيانا ناخذ الحديث كذا يا استاذ وانا اولهم وما ادري عن الاشياء الاخرى.
لا سيأتي إن شاء الله.
الخطأ.
سيأتي. So it mentions basically the time that when it comes to wiping over the hijab is based on if there's difficulty. And that can be because of the weather being very cold or difficulty to remove the hijab and to re-tie it. That is what considered to be mushaqqa. And the qaida fiqhiyya is al-mushaqqa tajlibu at-taysir. Hardship brings about ease. No.
You know from the ruling that the hijab shouldn't be removed outside of the home. If you are in a prayer room or something and there's females only, well then is it permissible for you to still wipe over the hijab? Or
No, that doesn't. Basically, you couldn't remove the hijab in that situation to wipe over. No.
So, sorry, but the situation that I'm asking about is, let's say if you are in a public place, public toilet, for example, you know, I mean, you can make wudu and all that, but then obviously that being the public toilet, along with that means there are a lot of other non-Muslim ladies in the toilet. So, is it advisable to just wipe?
You should
with
wipe
the hijab
because
on, or do you-
in this place as well, not everyone's going to be women.
yeah, that's what I'm
And they could describe you as well.
Okay.
Not everyone is going to use the public toilet. In this country, is going to be a woman.
What about if it is woman?
So,
No.
okay, so even though,
Even the men might be a cleaner
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
what about the fitna of phones?
Huh?
What about the fitna of
All of those things are taken into consideration. You don't actually have to think about it. Just know that if it's a difficulty, khalas, wipe over it.
Yeah. So then, what about the face then? Because, like, for example, take my hijab, for example, because I wear the underscarf like this, right? If I pull it up to wash my face, then obviously then it may show the hair as well.
No, so what you should only do it where your hairline starts. No, because that's the part that is supposed to be covered. From where the hairline starts. Okay. As for your face, you have to wash your face.
From the hairline.
Now, so whatever is considered to be your face, that's to be washed. The concession is in wiping over the hijab, what is considered to be the hair.
Okay.
No.
استاذ بس معلومه اللي انا عارفه من زمان، طبعا انا استغفر الله ما امشي عليها، انه ما لازم الكفار يشوفون شعر النساء، الكافرات النساء، يعني ما لازم احنا ننكشف على مرأة ايش ما كانت.
لكن
بس
إذا تخاف أنها ستصف ما رأت فهذا هو المشكلة.
إيه لا ما
نعم.
يصفون.
لأن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا تباشر المرأة وتنعتها لزوجها كأنه ينظر إليها. هذا حديث عبد الله بن مسعود. He mentioned a woman should not be with a woman like directly and describe her to her husband as if he can see her. I was asked this because someone asked me about they're on a marriage site trying to get married. But Allah musta'an, I don't understand why we do stuff like this. When it comes to the description of the woman's profile, it says, describe your body type. Are you hourglass, curvy? This is not befitting. And especially that this is attributed to people of the Sunnah, having these kind of things. That detail should only be for a potential spouse. There's definitely an interest there. Of the ways Prophet sent Salim or Sulaim to go and look at a woman for him to describe her. Not that you're doing it for yourself, you're publicly putting it on a website. No, this is not correct. Because now, يغلب الشهوة, a person is overcome by desire. They're not looking at anything about religion, it's looking at what's the body type. La. Al-awla ad-din. Then if you feel like, okay, there's an interest in this person, then you can say, you know what? I want to know more details. I'll send a female relative to go and be with that person and then describe it. But as for those details on a website, la, abadan. You see? And that's why, and those who mention that it shouldn't be done, they mention that hadith. Because when a person gives that this description, as if they're now looking at that person, if they can see that person. هذا لا ينبغي. That's best to be left off. No. And you have brothers, when they're looking for marriage, they put silly things in their profile. I can't entertain a person like this. I'm looking for a woman that's like this, caramel skin, and it's like, what are you talking about?
Long hair.
You see? Like, we have to be mature. We have to be mature. But stuff like that, those things in the description, what they can say is body type, fit, slim, average, slightly on the bigger side, those kind of words. That's general. But as for we don't talk like this as Muslims. Where's the haya?
Size of waist, size of
This is now making it something that is sexualized. That's where these hourglass terms come from. So this is not befitting to be on the marriage side. That's my personal opinion of what I looked into based on some of the statements of Ahl al-Ilm. Wallahu a'lam, but my personal opinion, I don't advise sisters to put themselves in situations like that or leave those parts blank.
There is حدود للرؤية الشرعية لأن أنا سمعت كذا رأي. سمعت أن يرى الرجل من المرأة ما يدعو إلى نكاحها. ما هو؟ هل هو الشعر؟
ما يعني ما كان يلبس إذا كان أمام أبيها.
أو
No.
ما تمسخها.
How she would be dressed in front of her dad. The places that the parts that can be uncovered, the parts of wudu, a'dha' al-wudu, say that can be seen. But again, also, I don't advise a sister to show her head to anyone unless they know that they're most likely to be married to that person, or just say describe it to them and that's it.
Even dignity.
No.
Women not think to man come and see her body and he go.
Allah al-Musta'an. But inshallah, we'll stop there with Bulugh and we'll go to Usul al-Fiqh, inshallah ta'ala. Allahumma salli wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad.